CFB 1743. Seriously, who are these guys?
What? What did he say? Who are these guys?
Who are these guys?
We're the college football show on ESPN.
And live from Bristol, it's Saturday night!
Indeed it is Saturday night, and welcome to the College Football Show presented by AT&T. We got the frat bro here, Matt Sims. Just kidding. All mean tweets aside, Skubie Mageza is here as well. I'm Sam Ravech. It is great to have you along with us. Mean tweets and all, bring it. We are welcoming everybody in to our College Football Show because over the next hour, we will be walking you through all of the best highlights from Week 4. We just saw Missouri able to avoid disaster there against Vanderbilt. They won in overtime by a field goal. We will also touch upon and get a live look in at the huge game going on in Norman as Oklahoma gets welcomed to the SEC. But before we get to all of that, a big, massive game in the Big House when USC was welcomed to the Big Ten today, Skubie, and it was a pretty big welcoming in the first half of that game.
And it's not often that Michigan is the underdog on their home field, but that was the situation that we were in. So let's take a look at some of the highlights from this game, starting in the first half, because Michigan was leaning on that rushing attack, and Khalil Mullings was putting the team on his back like the name on his jersey. 53-yard rushing touchdown here, guys.
Good blocking right there in the middle, hat for a hat. Good job by the running back, finding the lane and turning it over for the touchdown.
Yeah, and if you got one running back, you probably got a second one on the Michigan roster. This is Donovan Edwards, you know his name, adding to the 1-2 punch, 41-yard touchdown here.
By the way, good patience right there in that, reading that out and then making the one guy miss up the middle. Really good job by Edwards. First
half of this game, guys, I was wondering what happened to that USC defense that was revamped the entire offseason that we were hearing all about against LSU and everything. What happened? Where'd it go?
The script was exactly how Michigan was hoping it would be. USC was struggling to do what they wanted, especially on the offensive end. But then Michigan continued to apply the pressure as Miller Moss is fumbling on the sack here. Grant picks it up. Woody Marks, the guy who brought the team down to the red zone, strips the ball back. This is a fumble play, y'all. Huge, as it could have been pretty much the deciding factor.
This changed the game.
This did. I mean, Woody Marks, 60-yard run to get them down in the red zone. They have a fumble there, and then him hustling and getting that ball back for his team really did save the Trojans from themselves in that moment.
Now that's what you call hustle, because previously, as I just mentioned, Woody Marks ran the ball on a long play right to about inside the 5-yard line. Michigan then gets the stop. Woody Marks puts in the effort, gets the ball back. Great stuff by both players on that side of the ball, but then the fumbles just continue to happen, especially when USC was down 20-17. Donovan Edwards fumbles here. What do you call this, Matt?
Eric Gentry with the 6-inch punch right there, baby. Pow!
Duken.
Look at that. That was really good. With the forced fumble and the recovery, too. The 6'6 linebacker from Philly doing his thing for this USC defense. Really, really well executed. That's stuff that you practice and pre-practice all the time, and that was executed to perfection.
Here we go.
Yeah, and then Miller Moss ends up throwing the touchdown pass here thanks to that fumble, and they take the lead. Just an absolute zip for Miller Moss. By the way, came into this game with only 2 touchdowns on the season, threw for 3 in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Jacoby Lane right there, Deuce Robinson, 2 guys, right, for this receiving core that have been really impressive. We know how good Zachariah Branch is for this offense, but you see the power that Miller Moss is able to throw the football with right there. And this was tough. It was tough sledding for him all day today. His pocket movement was really, I think, the big difference in USC being able to stay in this one.
He was under pressure all day, pretty much. By the way, worth noting on that touchdown pass, Will Johnson got injured right before that. He was not on the field for that. I don't know if he would have had a difference on it, but
Will Johnson had a pick six.
Yeah,
he had a pick six earlier on in the game. And then for Michigan, they just couldn't run the ball in the second half, at least until this happened. This is when you get the ball back to the monster. Fee-fi-fo-fum.
There he goes.
Khalil Mullings. The dude was unstoppable. Talk about making a huge play in a huge moment, guys.
Yeah. Needed it to happen, too. By the way, this looked more like USC of last year, struggling to make tackles when you need it most. They look tired by the end of this thing, but Mullings, man, Michigan might have found a new RB1. Just
Yeah,
saying.
17
That's why you hit
carries.
the weights right there, Sam.
159
I
yards,
know.
and then this was the biggest play. 4th and goal, 40 seconds left in the game. Mullings squeezes through the hole, scores a touchdown. That was your go-ahead. Michigan ends up winning this 27-24. Didn't really throw the ball at all, fellas, in this game. Michigan ends up winning it with 32 passing yards. Alex Orji was the starter. It was their fewest passing yards in a game since October 31st, 1987 against Northwestern. But hey, we're playing old school ball with the Wolverines. But
No,
you
let's
come out
face
with
it,
the
though.
win.
Let's face it, though. Michigan, what they are offensively with Alex Orji at quarterback, it's like Army or Navy or Air Force on steroids. That's really what it is, right? With their offensive line, the style in which they play, the blocking that they have, the physicality that they bring, that's what they need to do. They need to essentially tap into, like the Washington Commanders RG3 offense, for college football. They need to do those type of things to win going forward. And hopefully Alex Orji can develop some sort of passing rhythm as the season goes.
I asked you, I'm like, why not just run the Wildcat? Just go full out.
I mean, that's essentially what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? And really what you're doing, too, for, defensive coordinators is, you got to defend every single gap in the running game. Because if you don't, you see, exactly, it is exhausting. It's tough for your players, especially USC. The one thing that I say they would lack is they lack like a solid 2 deep with the style of play that a lot of teams in the Big Ten play. And that'll be a big question going forward for them. Iowas of the world and all that, when they play them, they're going to see, like, all right, hey, we can just be patient with the running game and play good defense. We can hang in there and beat these guys.
It took some adjustments from USC in this game because they looked like a different team in the second half. In the first half, USC was not physical. They only had negative 16 yards rushing. But then you look at, only. And then you look at the second half after that terrible performance in the first half, 112 yards rushing. So they were able to make some adjustments on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball, where Michigan only had 9 total yards going into the fourth quarter until they found those 2 explosive plays that ended up being all the difference.
All right, now what did we learn, though, about Michigan, right? We know Alex Orji, right? He's tough. The throwing, okay, they need some work, all right, to put it politely, all right?
Yeah.
The running backs, they're legit and they're tough to tackle.
Yeah.
The offensive line playing the blocking schemes were pretty good today, right? But we know one thing. That defense is legit.
Yeah.
All right, they had to work for every yard in this game, USC. Lincoln Riley had his hands. I mean, it was tough. It really was. So Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, they were doing their thing. Guy off the edge, too. He had a really good impact in this one. So Stewart as well. Like, they got some dudes on that defensive front that are really impressive.
Final note, just Texas, when they came in there against Michigan, they made it look easy. And I think that's indication as to how good that Texas offense is, because we figured that this USC offense was prolific with Miller Moss and Lincoln Riley calling the plays. But when you look at the schedule for the Wolverines going forward, it's not completely easy, but they are going to have a little bit of a breathing room going forward.
And they do not see a team like Texas who can carve them up.
And hopefully Will Johnson's okay.
No question.
Right?
That's a big question.
He is an impact player for them, and he was responsible for one of their touchdowns today.
All right, so still some question marks, I think, on both sides for Michigan and USC. Brian Kelly, the head coach for LSU, was answering all sorts of questions about how they muddled their way through that win against South Carolina last week. First quarter here, we pick it up as they're taking on Deshaun Foster and the Bruins of UCLA. Nussmeier tosses it out. Xavier Thomas takes it to the end zone. LSU with the lead here. Nussmeier leads the SEC in passing touchdowns and completion percentage. It's hard to believe that is a true stat. A few moments later, though, Ethan Garber's been in the program a long time. Jack Peterson for a 20-yard score. Big guy into the end zone. Tying it up 7-7. UCLA came to play here. Second quarter we go. Bruins up by 3. Nussmeier going deep here. Kyle Parker. Check this out, guys. Not only does he make this catch, he's dragged into the end zone. He takes a little flight for 5 yards.
The ball placement, the concentration on the catch. I mean, the defender has his hand right there by the face mask, and he's still able to haul this one in for a touchdown. Great play.
Tigers up 14-10. Seconds left in the first half. UCLA 3rd and goal. They're backed up here, though. Garbers finding Logan Loya for the end zone, in the end zone for the touchdown. 3 interceptions for Garbers first 2 weeks. Took much better care of the ball in this game. But back to the fourth quarter here. Under 7 to go. Josh Williams runs it in, 2-yard score. Leading rusher for the Tigers today. They continue to have a revolving door at that position. But They did have some help from Caden Durham. Now, this won't count as a run, but it was a great explosive play out of the backfield.
It was, and really good read by Nussmeier. He saw that the defense was playing soft, got the football to his running back right away, and he does the rest. Really good job.
Tigers go on to win this game 34-17. A lot of questions on the defensive side of the football for LSU. We know we know that Nussmeier can play. 352 with 3 touchdowns in this game. Got to find some more consistency in the run game. Defense showed up today against the UCLA team that has really struggled to find some.
They're trying to run the football, and I appreciate that for LSU, and that's the only way to get better at. You just got to keep doing it and keep building that rhythm with your offensive line. So that's a good sign. Nussmeier, again, doing a great job of distributing and playing good football. Avoided the, snafu plays that he had a week ago against South Carolina. Played really clean football today. And then, defensively for LSU, it's just like, come on, man. Like man coverage, and they're just letting people wide open down the field. And really having trouble just affecting the quarterback consistently, too, which is another concern for me. Harold Perkins got beat up in this game.
And that's one thing that I was just about to mention. I'm a little bit concerned about his health and what's going to be going on with him going forward. But when you look at what LSU was able to do in the second half, they outscored UCLA 17-0. So they picked it up from that end. And 17 points, not great, but good from the standard of what we have seen from LSU. And then Grant Nussmeier, I think how far he goes is how far this team goes. 32 completions today. That's the most in a game in his entire career. And the way that he is playing has really taken this team towards the next level. The way he's throwing the ball, the tight windows that he's getting it into, and the wide receivers, they just got to run down the field and put their hands on, baby. It's going to fall right in your hands.
Just to add some numbers to the defensive context, you want to see improvement year over year, right? They make the changes, bring in Blake Baker from Missouri. Last year, 28 points per game. Right now, 27 points per game allowed. Now, it will go down after this, so we're seeing a little bit of improvement.
Some
so
growth.
It is there. The Perkins injury is a little concerning, though, because they're trying to move him around, find him the best spot to play in. I don't know.
I feel like they've been saying that for ever since he's there. Where do we put Perkins?
Right.
By the way, real quick, everybody in the YouTube comments, I am in the YouTube comment section. I like to say this every show. Holla at us. Join the conversation. We got plenty to talk about. Just like this Oklahoma State versus Utah game. A huge Big 12 matchup.
Utah's in the Big 12?
Yeah, they sure are. And Cam Rising was not playing, but we pick it up in the second. Isaac Wilson, brother of Zach Wilson, gets the start and hits Dorian Singer, who takes it to the Cowboys 7. A couple plays later, Brancuti takes a direct snap and goes into the end zone. Utah goes up 10-3. Not a lot of scoring in this game, so let's jump ahead to the fourth quarter. Alan Bowman is going to go deep, but his pass is intercepted by Elijah Davis. Not a great game from Bowman at all in this, guys.
He was taken out in this game and then replaced back in because the backup didn't really have anything going on either.
So Wilson gets to work over here, and he hits Kuti as he walks into the end zone for the touchdown. Literally walks into the end zone for a touchdown. They go up 22-3, but Oklahoma State is not going away. Bowman, after being sacked, gets back in the game, and this time he finds Brendan Presley, and Presley says, y'all can't press me. Touchdown, that's reservations for 6. Oklahoma State cuts the lead to 11. Next drive for the Cowboys. Bowman finds Rashad Owens.
Oh, here we go.
And he gets in for the touchdown, so they've cut the lead to 3, y'all. We got a ball game, but the Cowboys need to get a stop. Micaiah Bernard gets a handoff.
Great game for him.
And that's a first down to seal it. They get the win, 22-19. And we talked about Bowman's performance, 16 for 33, 206 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Isaac Wilson steps in for a Cam Rising who continues to be the topic of conversation. Whether he's playing or not, the football gods have not been kind to him at all. We hope he can be healthy going forward. But your team still gets the win, a huge win, because as we looked at the chances to reach a Big 12 title game, with the loss, Oklahoma's chances dips down to 9%. And with the win, Utah's chances to reach the Big 12 championship jumps up to 38%. So how good do we feel about Utah going forward?
Question marks, very similar to Michigan as far as just like the stability of their offense. But I think, Wilson played a solid game today. He turned the ball over twice. Really good football plays by the safety in this one for Oklahoma State. But just, I don't know if they generate enough in the passing game. They play really good defense. There's no doubt about that. Bernard in the running attack is really, I feel like, again, so it's very similar to Michigan with the identity of their team, right? Like they have to rely on their runner. And, Bernard, we we cheated you today, man. You had a few runs today. You put some defenders on skates.
Yep.
I don't know how they didn't make the cut for this this highlight, man, because he was very impressive.
I'll credit Utah for changing some of the looks that they were giving Bowman on defense. He started this game 8 for 17 in the passing game. Then he had 8 straight incompletions with 2 interceptions, which is eventually what led to him sitting out for some of the game.
Right.
Now, defense travels. Utah, their home road splits have been some of the most drastic in the game as far as how they have struggled on the road. So I think this is a massive win, and we knew that coming into this game, this could very well decide who's playing in this title game.
And does Cam Rising give them that much of a boost offensively?
Yeah.
And it's like we like to think that he does, right? But at the same time, just he's been struggling with injury. We don't really know what to expect from it. He practiced a lot. Supposedly 60% of the reps went to him in practice this week, warmed up before the game, and still dressed on the sideline but didn't play.
Very strange.
So, I don't know. Maybe they thought they had enough to get it done without him, but still very, very concerning. And just what does that look like for him going forward?
Yeah, and the word was going into this week, he's good. Like, he's playing.
Yeah, that's another. So
very strange.
know,
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens
Strange.
in Week 5. All right, it was Harry Douglas Day in Louisville.
HD. It's always Harry Douglas Day.
HD getting honored in the Ring of Honor prior to this game. There he is on the field.
That boy.
Bad.
Really cool.
Congratulations,
sight.
brother. Congratulations.
Well
man.
deserved. Well deserved. And he got to see a pretty good game too. First quarter, Haynes King fakes the handoff, and he can do this with the best of them. Takes off, and Georgia Tech strikes first early. They go up 7-0. Later on in the quarter, King going up the middle tries to throw the ball backwards and into the end zone, recovered by Louisville.
That was
touchdown.
a difference right there. You can't be turning the ball over in these type of games because when you look at the stats, it made a huge difference.
This Louisville defense was good last year. They were up there really good again this year.
Yeah.
Tyler Shuck, who has broken just about every bone in his body, stays healthy as the quarterback, finds Chris Bell and misses a tackle there. Louisville takes the lead. First half winding down, King looking deep, and Eric Singleton behind 2 Cardinal defenders, able to chop him down. First and goal, a couple plays later, 4th and goal, Georgia Tech. Jamal Haynes gets the handoff and barrels into the end zone. Georgia Tech cuts the lead to 3 at the half. This one came down to the wire. Third quarter, now tied 17. Shuck. Ja'Cory Brooks.
Oh, man. Ja'Cory Brooks. I mean, he does a 360 here.
What is
just
it?
the
It
pirouette down the sideline, the concentration.
This
is the play of the day right here.
How does he
goodness.
find that ball again?
I mean, look at that. It's
Does he
just
take-
like so clean,
Does
that
he
play.
take ballerina classes? Because that's the only way he can make that grab.
Sweet feet.
Jump ahead of the fourth here. How about Aiden Burr? Special teams.
So we're talking a touchdown on a fumble and a touchdown on special teams.
Holloway with the block
Yeah.
and the recovery, running it back for the touchdown. Great play on special teams. Hey, 3 phases of football, okay? Offense, defense, and special teams. That's what we do in Louisville, baby. Yeah. Ja'Cory Brooks, though, fantastic day today.
Yeah, we'll get to the ACC in a much larger conversation in a little bit. So Louisville takes this one 31-19. Just a quick story on HD. I mean, really a great guy. Oh, whoa! I was just going to get into story time, but instead we go to the live look-in.
Okay. He got it. He got that.
And UL
I was trying to wait for the right
Did you see
moment.
that too?
I was trying to wait for the right moment to
I
get
did the
to it.
Isaac Wilson,
We got to watch the game here. Look, we got a Manning on the field making a start for Texas, guys. Quarterback royalty here. And that's Jaden Blue.
Got the first down.
Got the first down. So quarterback royalty, a name everyone knows about. Not talking about Arch Manning. We got General Booty in this game as well.
General who?
General Booty playing in this game.
Salute
But this
to
is
the
all
Booty.
about Arch here. First and goal, Texas.
I think I pulled my hamstring.
So guys, Manning had
Touchdown.
a 56-yard pass to get them there.
Yeah.
To that point and get it into the red zone. Now, Arch broke records in the game last week.
Yep.
Now had a whole week to prep and get ready for this game.
Right.
UL Monroe coming into Austin. And, you know, I guess let's start here. Obviously, it's a good start for Arch, Maddie, but what do you want to see from him in this game? Anything in particular?
Just keep doing what you're doing. Execute the offense, right? Run the offense as clean as possible. Get the reps that you need, the valuable reps, right, that give you that experience to play even more confident once we go back into conference play. And, luckily for Texas, it worked out that it's a favorable schedule for this young quarterback to get that. We know how talented he is. We know that the family that he comes from and just his experience with the game of football and growing up around it. So he's going to be prepared for this. And also, too, I just believe that Sark really understands how to develop a game plan for his quarterbacks. He looks at it through the quarterback lens and his experience with guys like Matt Ryan and his history and all that. That'll play into huge favors, really, for Arch to get ready sooner.
Yeah. So now
spit that out.
We got it.
So now he has the opportunity to be the starter, right? He works the entire week for this. He knows that he's going to be the guy taking snaps as soon as that first whistle blows, and he's already thrown an interception, right? But he just led his team down the field, 56-yard pass, got them into scoring position. So it's a little bit more pressure now. The team is prepped for you. He doesn't get to play as freely, I would say, as when you come in as a backup, because you've talked about coming in as a backup. You're like, all right, I guess I'm just gonna ball
no
now.
one's expecting anything from me. So let's just wing it, man. So it's a different task at hand when you are the guy for that extended period of time throughout the week. And again, this is where I just lean into just good offensive line play. The skill group is really talented. They can run the football when they need to consistently. And then the play design, I'm just telling you, like it's on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
We just said Michigan's got a great defense. Texas moved the football on them at will at times and protected well, too. You saw Miller Moss. He didn't get much protection today, right, against that Michigan defensive line. So I think Sark and the boys will take care of this young quarterback and make sure that he is being groomed the proper way to succeed.
Well, what about Quinn Ewers, right? We saw the injury that he has.
Yeah.
It's a strain to the oblique.
Yeah, really frustrating.
How is that for a quarterback when you have an injury like that? And have you ever dealt with it? Have you had teammates that have dealt with that, trying to come back from an injury like that?
So, the closest thing I would say that I've had to that is, kind of like a lower back, back spasm type of thing, right? And really, it's just every throw, every movement, you're like, it's just it just eats you alive. So I think for them, hopefully Quinn is getting the rest that he needs, right, to be healthy and ready to go. I know everyone's thinking, is there a quarterback competition? Arch is going to be the guy. Slow down. Let's pump the brakes. Okay, he's still a young man. Right. He still doesn't have the experience that Quinn Ewers had, and really the journey that Quinn has taken to become the man and the player that he is right now. So, Texas' best opportunity is still to have Quinn Ewers healthy.
And real quick, just before you go, just looking ahead towards Texas' schedule. Next week they have Mississippi State, and then they have a bye week. And then they have Oklahoma.
Which is great.
So that is great, an opportunity for Quinn Ewers to get back on the field against Oklahoma.
You never want to get injured, but if there was a time that you had a small injury, this would probably be the time.
Worked out well for him.
So
it did.
It sure did. All right, let's move it along here. Time now for Can't Take the Heat, built by the Home Depot. So after the 56-7 win over the UTSA Roadrunners in week 3, Texas leapfrogged Georgia for the #1 spot in the AP poll. Question to you guys, though, is Texas deserving, and are they the #1 team in the country? Maddie, I'll start with you.
Yes, I believe that they are the #1 team in the country. I think they are the most deserving team in the country. And the reason why is because I think they just play the best complementary football, offense, defense, and special teams. They don't really have any self-inflicted, injuries or issues, right, as far as how they play. And, for Georgia, as we look at them, on this screen right here, it's just my issue with them is, again, the replacement of how do they generate points consistently. We saw that against Kentucky. I know that we believe in Carson Beck and he's talented, but just the offense looked very stale and there was no one to help Beck just get them going.
Scoop, I'll ask you this question. Is this Texas team better than last year?
Oh, that is a good question.
That's crazy to say how talented they were.
I think they're more balanced, right?
Okay.
They have a little bit more balance all around. Sometimes when you have really talented players on your roster, you rely on them and you try to get them the ball. You do things that are catered towards that player. But for me, to answer your question earlier on, is Texas a #1 team? I'm still going to go with Georgia. And I think you can make a case for either one of the teams because it really is 1A and 1B. And I say Georgia only because I saw the game last week. I know Georgia didn't play great against Kentucky, but it is hard to play on the road in the SEC. And for Georgia, if you're looking ahead, which college kids tend to do,
Always.
you have the bye week, and then you have Alabama, right? You got this Kentucky team that just got blown out by South Carolina. I can see them looking ahead. I can see the coaches and everybody kind of just being a little lackadaisical coming into that game. But overall, with Georgia, that defense still hasn't allowed a touchdown this season. That team handled Clemson quite easily. And if you saw what Clemson has done these last 2 weeks, I think we've gotten to the point saying, that Clemson team is actually a good football team.
I'm sorry. I threw Clemson under the bus way too soon. I apologize. All right, they're a good football team.
We all owe Clemson an apology after what we did and said about them after week 1. All right, so Texas did jump Georgia for the #1 spot in the AP poll. Here's a quick look at the AP poll heading into this week 4. So you got Texas, Georgia, Ohio State. I think there's a lot of confidence in those 3 teams there.
Yeah.
And then, a case could be made for many teams, not only after those 3 to move up, but also looking just outside the top 10 that could possibly be in the top 10. So what we are going to do here on the College Football Show is we are going to give you, at home, our top 10 rankings.
This is the real
This is
one,
the real
all right?
ranking. This is the real. Now, hold on, guys.
Not associated top 10.
So are we decided on #1? Like, are we in agreement of Texas? I know you said Georgia, but I mean,
Rock, paper, scissors.
Yes, for the sake of the exercise.
Damn it. Okay. All right, go ahead. Put
All
Georgia
right.
one.
Yeah, give Georgia #1.
That wasn't what we talked about pre-meeting, but when you win rock, paper, scissors, shoot, you go ahead and take it. All right, Georgia #1 team, and then I think we can
Texas
put Texas
is
2.
Texas is 2. All right, then from there, I'm curious to see what you think here. I want to lean towards Alabama.
At number 3?
At number 3. A little bit. Just me. I know everyone at home's like, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I totally buy Will Howard and what they're doing quite yet at Ohio State, but I know they're talented as hell. But I've just seen Jalen Milroe do some crazy things with the football.
Look, as far as Wisconsin goes, they're not the best team in the Big Ten, but going up there in that environment and doing what they did, I give them credit for that. Now, Will Howard.
So we want to put Alabama at 3 on our show, or do we put Ohio State? I'm cool with going Alabama or Ohio State. I have seen more from Alabama against better opponents. They did struggle in their game against South Alabama. So you can look at that. South Florida.
But still, South Florida's like sneaky talented on the defense side of the football.
They were up on Miami a second ago.
Yeah.
So for the sake of the exercise, let's put Alabama here. And here's another reason.
Sorry, Buckeyes.
Will Howard, 34th in the country in yards per game. Like, let's not pretend that he has come in and been this exceptional quarterback that Ohio State
was essentially the same offense as it was a year ago, right, as far as how it looks, really. I would say the only difference is that they're doing a better job of running the football this year. Right. So Quinshon Judkins has definitely had a huge impact with that. Travion Henderson, the offensive line is playing better. So the running aspect is good. The defense is still solid, but we really haven't seen them playing better.
All right, so we got Georgia 1, Texas 2, Alabama 3, Ohio State 4.
Okay.
That is our top 4 right now. Now, that 5th spot, we have talked about how important it is because that's the one that doesn't get the bye week technically, right? So who would we put at that 5th spot right now? I think it's Tennessee.
I'm biased as hell. I can't lie.
I know you are.
I mean,
We got to see what they do tonight.
Let's say after today, we'll see what happens. But I'm just saying right here, like James Pierce and the boys and that defense and Tim Banks and what they're doing, right, is legit. McCoy, Gibson, the corners, they're legit. They can play man coverage. They can rush the passer. They can stop the run. So that's why I think Tennessee might have an advantage over maybe some of these other defenses that we're talking about over here.
All right, then at the number 6 spot, I think we have to give our respect over to Ole Miss. They may not have really played anybody yet to this point of the season, but they are doing some things on the stat that just don't make sense. They're blowing teams out. They're scoring a lot of points.
Exactly. We got to see some more teams here.
All right.
All right. Based on what we saw from Missouri today, going to overtime, I'm not going to put them in our top 10. I don't think that they are deserving of the top 10 right now.
I agree.
All right. So let's go in the 7th spot here. I think you put. I would like to talk about an ACC team here.
All right, I think we go with Miami here.
Yeah.
We go with Miami at the 7th spot. I know they're playing their game right now, but Cam Ward is currently the Heisman favorite.
Yeah.
I like what they're doing all around as a team. There's a lot of good energy and vibes around that Miami program right now. And then at the number 8 spot, We talked
Give me
about
Utah.
this.
Yeah.
Utah.
Okay.
Huge win for them today against Oklahoma State. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't
Defensive
a fun game to watch.
championship type of team,
Yeah,
right?
defense
Offense
travels.
is definitely a concern.
And I
Definitely.
think they will get rising back at some point. It's just a hand deal. I
Yeah.
think it does help them a little bit, at least having some veteran leadership there.
For
All
sure.
right, number 9.
All right, number 9. All right,
This
I
is a
will
toss-up
go.
here, by the
I'm
way.
going to go with Oregon at number 9.
All right.
Even though they barely got through the state of Idaho.
Yes, and the reason why is because I think that 12th team actually might end up being Boise State, right? I think that was like a legit
Good
team
point.
that they beat, and I think like don't overlook Boise State and the Broncos for right now. And you know what? At number 10, I'm happy with Penn State and how they look. Still a lot. I don't know. I actually might.
You going with Clemson?
I might.
You're going. Yeah. All right.
I like what
For the-
Gary Riley
for the
and the
sake
boys are doing in the
Of
running.
the exercise, we
I
will
think
go with
Cade
Clemson at number 10.
He's grown up a little bit, and I actually think that loss against Georgia is going to help them in the long run.
All right, we'll talk about this more, but Clemson doesn't have that much competition towards the rest of their schedule
No, they
to add
don't.
it to
But
it.
here's what I would say.
What?
We trashed Clemson.
We
after
did.
They lost to Georgia.
And you know what?
But on the flip side, let's not overhype Clemson because NC State
That's what we do.
gave up some points to Tennessee. So
That's how it really should be. That's how I'm going to say it.
I don't know.
Put Penn State at number 10. You heard?
I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, I don't
So-
know about that.
So speaking of Clemson, guys, by the way, I talked about redemption a little bit. This was a redemption kind of weekend for a lot of teams. You
Yeah,
talk about-
Deuce.
talk
Let's see it,
about
Deuce.
Clemson. And, they're taking on NC State, Dave Doran's team. This does not look like a Dave Doran defense. Cade Klubnik taking it 55 yards to the hoose. Woo-woo. Clemson takes an early lead in this one. Next drive for the Tigers here. Klubnik flushed out of the pocket on the run. Man, this is something that Clemson fans have been waiting to see for a long time, Matty.
And I love the play design there. We'll talk about it a little bit more when we go into the playbook here. But, the shallow and up look here, beautiful design. And then Cade showing off his athleticism throwing on the run there.
All right, here we go. On the ground now, Maffa getting the handoff, trying to get him going. And he
Maffa
gets
Mafia,
into
baby.
the end zone. Back-to-back weeks now for Phil Maffa with 100 or more rush yards.
Yeah.
This is a quick pass out to the boundary
They're
there.
cooking, man.
And Klubnik, that's finding Adam Randall in for the touchdown. Clemson would cruise in this one, 59-35. Gave up some points later on there in the third and fourth quarters.
Yeah.
But Clemson, man, they look like a different team right now, Scoop.
Yeah, definitely. And a team that needed to bounce back because they need to look at a different team this week is Florida.
Yeah.
As they took on Mississippi State. We're going to start this game in the second quarter where we're tied at 7.
Dan Mullen Bowl, by the way.
Yes. And listen, Bill Napier, everyone's called for his job, but Graham Mertz, he was like, listen, I'll do my job on the field, and that's throw dimes. He was cooking like some hot grease, hits Mark Burke here. That's a 20-yard touchdown pass.
Off corner double move right there. Got the corner to bite. Good touch throw over the top.
I give him a ton of credit, man. Everyone was coming after Graham Mertz, and now he comes out. He's showing some confidence in this game.
Yeah, and he says, I'm not done yet. It's Hayden Hansen for a 35-yard touchdown here. Mertz was 19 for 21, 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. 90% completion percentage.
That's pretty
Late
good.
in the first half. Florida looking to score again. Jacoby Jackson. Ooh, he is for real. Did I hit the note? Not really.
Almost.
But you
Yeah, it was
get
good.
what I'm saying.
I like it.
Gets in the end zone there. All Florida in this one, they get back on the track as they win at 45-28. 226 yards rushing for Florida in this game.
Oh,
Sam.
and to think that they lost ETN in the portal.
But also too, all right, Napier, stop with the quarterback competition thing. All right, if you're gonna win, if you're gonna keep your job, play Graham Mertz. All right, because early on in the game they tried to do that, like, oh, this quarterback, that
they were playing
quarterback,
both.
and I don't know if that is sustainable when they get again further into the year. I know you love DJ Lagway. I think he's a good player. I thought that maybe that he would look a little bit better against Texas A&M and kind of take over the job.
Yeah.
It didn't happen that way. It's not his time, and that's okay. Graham Mertz gives you the best chance to be successful. And I think Graham, after one of the touchdowns, too, ran over to Billy and was like, yeah, man, like, let's go. Like, enough of this. Like, and I'm happy to see that from him. Just, hey, let it go, man. Play fun. Play, have fun, and cut it loose.
Okay, so, we were talking also about this Clemson team, Florida, getting a little bit of redemption. I want to take it back to Clemson for just a second.
Okay.
Has your perception of Clemson changed since week 1? as much as it relates to the ACC title race?
Yeah, it has significantly, and maybe because I was expecting a little bit more like from everyone else in the ACC to maybe be a little sharper than what we've seen so far. And no, it's not the case, right? Even like preseason, we're talking about North Carolina State and how talented they are and all this stuff, and I don't see it. And we discussed this as a group. We of course were bashing Clemson for getting smacked late in that game against Georgia, but that I think was a really good wake-up call for their whole program to now say, all right, we've seen the best in the country. This is the standard in which we have to play at.
Yeah.
Now, let's go and put it together now. It can't get any worse. And I think it really helped the whole group. And, two right there, he's getting better. And they're building a better offense around him, and I think they're spreading the football around in the running game so much better than what they showed in week 1.
Yeah, shout out to JC in the chat, big Clemson fan. He said, feels good. Forgot what this felt like. And I feel you, because everyone was trashing Clemson to start the season. But to add towards Maddie's point here of how they made sure to play the best of the best to start the season, we're looking at teams like Ohio State and sometimes usually Michigan. They added Texas, obviously, but they usually start the season with cupcake games and then the competition increases.
Yeah.
But Clemson challenged themselves right at the beginning. And then when you look at their schedule going down the rest of the season, it gets easier. Louisville is a team that they're going to have a challenge with coming down. And I see in our chat right now, Brandon Wood said that Louisville is a team that's not being talked about. They might make his top 10. I agree. Louisville is a team that's going to continue to ball.
I love Louisville.
And he loves Louisville, big Louisville fan. But what impressed me the most about Clemson is Garrett Riley and Cade Klubnik. They look like they have found something together, especially with the play-action pass, especially with the running game. They're running a lot of zone read. Zone read makes it easier for the offensive line and the running backs to just play ball, read and react. And we saw that consistently throughout the game. And Cade Klubnik played one of the best games in his career. Back-to-back games where they've scored 55-plus points. That's deadly with Clemson.
46 rush yards against Georgia. They have over 500 rush yards over the last 2 games. I mean, that
they're
opens
being
up
patient
the pass
with
game.
it. And I'm telling you, all the different looks, it's really tough to defend. And that's why I give a lot of credit to Garrett Riley and what he's done, too, as far as designing this offense. It's really impressive. He's doing better things on offense than his brother is.
It's a really easy game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Run the football.
It starts with running the football. You run the football, you're going to find success with the play-action pass. And Cade Klubnik, 12 of 18, 191 yards, and 3 touchdowns with the play-action pass, which was more than the first 2 games combined. But the other game that we need to talk about with the team that was a little bit questionable is Missouri. We saw how they played against Boston College. Now how do they play against Vanderbilt? And Vanderbilt says, well, we're going to tell you how they're going to play. They're going to struggle because Diego Pavia with the deep throw to Joseph McVeigh for the 65-yard touchdown.
What a throw right there.
Vanderbilt gets up 7-0. Check out this replay. I mean, way to step up in the pocket here and hit your wide open guy.
Man, good job driving off the right foot as he steps up right there. That is like straight just power throw there.
But then Mizzou says, okay, we need to figure something out. So let's just find our best player, Luther Bird, and Brady Cook hits him, and he does the rest. In for the 20-yard score.
About time.
Yeah, they tie it up at 7. Same thing last week. We're in trouble. Let's hit our best player. Second half now, tied up at 13. Missouri looking to get their first lead in the red zone. Marcus Carroll puts his head down, and he gets in. Now let's get down. Celebrate good time. Come on. Missouri, first lead of the game. They lead 2013 after the touchdown, but Vandy would not go away. A.J. Newberry gets a handoff off the option, and he gets in for the 4-yard touchdown.
What happened to that top 10 defense that was in Columbia, Missouri last year?
Yeah, their defensive coordinator isn't there anymore, right? Is that what could have done something?
Maybe.
Well, coaching matters, boys. Just letting you know. It's important.
All right, 3 minutes left in the game. Vandy with a chance. This is a 50-yard field goal attempt. Kicker made one from 57 in the first half, and it is no good. Vanderbilt's chance to take the lead falls short. This one would head to overtime. Missouri couldn't capitalize on the missed field goal. First OT, Vanderbilt looking to punch it in. Gabe Fisher gets the pass from Diego for the 2-yard touchdown. Missouri has to answer with a touchdown. Who else would they go to? I told you, when you're in trouble, hit your best player.
What a double move.
Luther Burden. 25-yard touchdown. We had to double OT. Missouri would kick a field goal to take a 30-27 lead. So Vanderbilt with a 31-yard field goal to take it into triple OT.
Man.
What is going on? Buddy, come on, my boy.
Man.
Y'all were in the game like EA Sports.
Missouri just continues to squeak by here and get past these. Vanderbilt, by the way, no longer the doormat of the SEC. They're a very good football team, but man.
Yeah, they play tough.
Yeah, Luther Burden, 6 catches, 76 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brady Cook, 23 for 37, 226, and 2 touchdowns.
And Nate Noel ran the football well for Missouri again today. I mean, he had like 20 carries for 199 yards. So it's like Missouri's moving the football. Man, they're not capitalizing on enough of these drives to actually score early, right? And it seems to just take them forever to build any offensive rhythm right now. And it's weird because it's like you got a really good quarterback, you got a great receiver, you have a solid running back, and you have a good offensive line. So it's like, what is it about these guys that it's just like they're taking so long to wake up for these football games?
Yeah. All right, we have an update here, guys. Big game going on in Norman with Tennessee. Oh, wait, we got another live look. Oh, boy. Wow.
We got that one.
I think we lost mics. We lost the live looking button is down.
I don't know. I didn't hear it.
Well,
I didn't hear the bell there, Rob.
this is my favorite part. 'cause I just
Tell
sit
the
here.
replay. All right, we got 10-3 Oklahoma. Obviously, this is your squad, Matt.
I can't hear any of you.
Yeah. No,
All right,
we got to fix
Matt
your mic.
lost the mic.
It was the effort
All right.
there. So, Nico, a touchdown pass in this game to Thornton Jr., 66 yards for a score. So they're up 10-3 right now.
Yeah, it's on. You're good.
So,
All right, let's talk about this.
yeah,
game, right?
so Oklahoma getting welcomed to the SEC by Tennessee.
Yeah.
And you got the number 1 quarterback in the class of 2023 going up against the number 2 quarterback in the class of 2023.
There's my
With
earpiece.
Nico and Jackson Arnold here, we got an injury on the field for Oklahoma. Both of these teams, guys, both of these teams come into this game 3-0, but it feels very different 3-0 for Oklahoma versus the 3-0 for Tennessee.
Now, for me in this game, right, Tennessee, obviously they have dominated at a historical rate, where it is on the offensive end, they're scoring a lot of touchdowns. On the defensive end, they're getting their stops. But this is really the first time that Tennessee is seeing a defense like this, right, especially on the road. And I'm hearing that we have Nico's touchdown. Let's go ahead and show it to y'all because this is a 66-yard bomb, and this is what Tennessee is capable of. He hits this to Thornton Jr., as Tennessee gets the first score in the game. And they can hit you with chunk plays, explosive plays at any moment of the game. But let's not forget that Oklahoma is a team that forces a lot of turnovers. That's where they found a lot of success as well.
Dante Thornton Jr., really unbelievable player on the outside right there. And that's a play that we've seen from Tennessee in this offense all season long. They motion everyone to one side of the field. They get him in one-on-one situations with a lot of space. They fake inside zone, and they throw him a skinny post. And Nico does a great job of not trying to throw that over the top with touch. He just rifles it right on his guy, and he does a great job staying flat and running for the touchdown. So really good execution and a very simple concept for them to play fast and accurate football with their young quarterback.
All right, 2nd and 3 here, little pitch. Now, this is the difference maker for Tennessee is their run game and the versatility that they use in that run game, whether it be with a guy like Sampson, who might be one of the best backs in the entire country. You see him on the sideline right there, or Bishop in the backfield. Like they have so many different weapons that they can use. And obviously, you got Nico in the pass game as well. But all right, first true road environment here for Nico, Matty. You know, I got to ask you, do you remember your first true road environment that you were playing in, and how much of a shock that was to the system?
My first true road environment.
Nico goes down.
It might have been at LSU. And,
God.
Yeah, and we,
boy.
We messed that up. We should have won that football game. Every Tennessee fan that's watching this show, too, probably remembers that. We had 13 people on the field on defense to end the football game. We really screwed it up.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling us
It really
that story.
costed my job, too. I actually probably would have been the starter if we won that football game. But
I didn't mean to bring up bad memories.
no,
I
it's
just was
okay.
trying to get a little flavor.
A lot of therapy. I've worked through it, but no, I'm kidding. But you're right, though. The Dylan Sampson, Bishop, Peyton Lewis in the backfield, too. And both those other guys are freshmen, So, like, to have 3 guys that have already rushed for over 100 yards this football season is really important. And that's one thing that teams always kind of, you miss out on with Heupel in this offense. It's really primarily about, like, can we run the football well?
Yeah.
Mays Cooper, is a phenomenal center for Tennessee. And his athleticism, the way that he gets everyone set up to on that front is really impressive.
Yeah. I know our producer's telling us to wrap, but I want to make one more point to add towards you and running the ball. So Tennessee has done a really good job rushing the ball this season. They average more rushing yards right now, 336 per game, than Oklahoma has averaged in total offense, right? Dylan Sampson, he's rushed for 9 touchdowns, the second most by any SEC player through the first 3 games since the conference expanded in 1992. So what they're doing with their rushing offense has been historical, and if they're going to win this game in a hostile road environment, they're going to need to lean on that rushing.
Without their starting left tackle, Lance Hurd, who is out in this game too. So that's another one that, they're playing without that guy. I'm telling you, the Tennessee offensive line is legit.
By the way, our producer Brian said you're fired since you just blew through
blew
through the entire stop there. But we got a lot more in this show coming up, but we'll keep an eye on this Tennessee-Oklahoma game. All right, it's time now for the playbook presented by Modelo. We are back at the touchscreen with our very own Matt Sims, ready to break it down. All right,
yes, sir.
Let's talk about this Clemson team, because Cade Klubnik coming into this season, a lot of questions about whether he can take the next step in his game. And a lot of the criticism against him was that he was a little hesitant at times. And a lot of the fans were like, run the ball if you don't have anything. Here he breaks off a run early on in this game and gets things started.
Yeah, and this is what I love about Garrett Riley and what he's done for Clemson. I think he's really found like that nice middle ground for Cade Klubnik to build confidence and to play fast and have fun. So we're going to get a really cool concept right here by Clemson. We're going to send a little speed motion all the way across. We're going to get the defense thinking sideline to sideline, right? So we got the halfback leading out here. We got the speed sweep going to the outside. We're trying to get this defense to overcommit to the outside. But meanwhile, we're going to pull the backside guard and the backside tackle, and we are going to kick out the backer here. And then the tackle is going to follow up right through this middle linebacker, and Cade Klubnik does a great job of going one step with the speed sweep and then getting downhill and following his blocks. And then does a great job, too, of just showing his athleticism and the speed that he has to offer. Love the downfield blocking. You saw the guard kick out. You see the tackle move up. Good blocking here by the receiver. And then Cade Klubnik doing his best to just turn on the turbo button, man, and score this touchdown. Really good looking play there by number 2.
Yeah, he was
and
fast.
You can see right from here just the lane that he's able to run through. And once he kind of gets that momentum going, he does a great job of finishing this run off for a touchdown.
It was the longest touchdown run by a quarterback for Clemson since 2019. Trevor Lawrence was on the team then. All right, so we got the legs going, Maddie. Now let's get the arm going.
So Matt, now he's feeling confident. Now he's feeling good. And now we're going to get into the passing game. And I think this is a really fun concept, again, that Clemson runs. So, again, Garrett Riley, I'm really impressed with how he calls plays. We're going to get a 7-man protection with the back involved here in the backfield. We're going to get a shallow cross that actually turns up to a wheel. So everybody at home, you probably thought this was a broken play. They designed it specifically for this look. He runs a go takeoff in the slot and then a follow route. And essentially what Cade's doing is he's just going to read the back and the flat, right? The shallow and go.
Sure.
The back and the flat, and then to the shallow cross following into that window. The one concern I have on this play is that North Carolina State rushes 3 and somehow still gets home, right, against this 7-man protection. But still, Cade doing a great job. Spidey senses were up and aware. He escapes suddenly out of the pocket. Really good throw on the run to the design play here for the touchdown. And again, you're going to see right here, he's going to turn up the field on this wheel route before he even sees Cade Klubnik escape the pocket. So that tells me right away that it was set up to be a double move right there, attacking that weak side corner versus cover 3.
Yeah, so you said they rushed 3 there, but that seems like a play you need to rely on your offensive line to give you some time for that play to develop.
It does, but it also helps too when you have a quarterback like Cade who is athletic and really can throw it well on the run when he's feeling good.
Right, so Cade has accounted for 14 touchdowns over the last 2 games.
Yeah.
And it's plays like this that I think have allowed them to open up this offense a little bit more. Talk about this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is another good play call. Low red zone area. Again, North Carolina State is thinking, let's stop the run. Let's make sure that we are filling every gap and defending it well in this running attack. And they're just going to run little fake inside zone run. They're going to dive in here and run a little corner and then a flat route right over here by the tight end. Easy high-low read here for Cade to read. And they do a great job, again, of protecting the quarterback, Good fake. Again, the pursuit by the North Carolina State defensive line and linebacker crew. Everyone is within about 2 yards of the line of scrimmage. We're getting a really quick outflank by the tight end to the flat. So we're putting this defender right here in a very difficult bind. We put him in that high-low position where no matter what he does, he's wrong. And Cade doing a great job of finding the open receiver for a touchdown. Williams for the second one of the day.
Man, a lot of people were sleeping on this Clemson team after that Georgia loss.
I'm one of them, man. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
You know, I was that one, and I'm telling you, Dabo and Garrett, great job. You know, they're getting their quarterback going now. The offense has definitely evolved from week one.
Yeah.
So kudos to Clemson, you know, kind of batten down the hatches and getting back to work.
It takes a little bit of time to get things going. By the way, this win was the 800th win for Clemson.
Wow.
In program history. They become the 14th FBS program to do that, the first in the ACC. That is the playbook presented by Modelo. Time now to take a look at game-changing connection presented by AT&T. We're going to look at some of the best plays in Week 4. Let's take it back to Friday Night Lights inside the Dome. Stanford QB Ashton Daniels puts one up to Alec Iomander. You're going to see him playing on Sundays. 17-yard score.
One of the best in the country. This is OBJ-esque. Right?
I mean,
really is.
It's just unbelievable how easy he made that.
How about
right
UNC there. James Madison? It wasn't a great game for the Tar Heels, but it was a great highlight here. They get tricky like Run DMC. Criswell hits John Copenhaver. That's a big man rolling down the sideline for a touchdown.
Razzle dazzle.
All right, let's check out this one here. James Madison breaking out the long ball, airing it out. That's quarterback Alfonso Barnett. Free play there. Also, he drew him offside. So
yeah, James Madison put up $1 million. A whole $1 million. Houston versus Cincinnati. Brandon Sorsby throws the ball to the sticky hands of Xavier Henderson. Those hands are rated E for everyone. Getting both feet in because that's good on Sundays, fellas.
All right, let's check out the Army Black Knights. Surprise to everybody, this is not a run play. We're going to throw the ball here. QB Bryson Daly drops in at a bucket for the receiver.
Nice.
Daly's got 3 passing touchdowns this year. He had 7 all of last year. New look Army offense.
Rolling. They're going to keep rolling.
Same Michigan as offense.
That's right.
Same offense as Michigan.
That's right.
That was
At this point, they need that quarterback.
Sense.
All right, this is a catch of the year candidate from Iowa State. He wants to be the very best. Oh! Because like Ash Ketchum, sometimes you got to catch them all. Great ball skills here. One-handed, we like that. Iowa State.
This was a really interesting game. This one also was interesting. Tulane. Jackson Chenchu with the pick 6 here. Couple really tough weeks for head coach John Summerall at Tulane, right?
Quarterback,
Kansas
make that
State.
tackle.
You got Oklahoma last week, and Tulane getting it done with the defense here this time.
Yeah, you got to get it done on the defensive end. So why don't we stay on the defensive end? Because in Eastern Michigan versus St. Francis, pay attention to the line of scrimmage.
What happened?
Snap
Where's the ball?
is fumbled. Everyone's like, oh,
Where's the ball?
Plays over. Sight.
Oh!
Nope. Davis Carter Jr. is up out of there like the Roadrunner in Looney Tunes. Meet me. 98-yard return for the touchdown. And that's why you play until you hear the whistle. 99. That's even better when it's 99 yards for a touchdown. That's how you make the play, baby. Game-changing connections right there.
He's just reading the sponsor. He's got everything now.
Guy's awesome.
You got to jump on the football there, though, right?
I
right
mean,
at the
you
goal
do.
line?
And I'm still confused by that stadium, too, in the field right there. It's like a glitch. Like, it looks like it's a black and white field, and then the teams are in colors. I don't know. It's wild.
Very interesting plays here in Week 4. Those were your game-changing connections presented by AT&T.
I knew you were going to do that. That's why I hit it.
Chapter 1 of the college football season, the non-conference portion, comes to a close here in Week 4. Then in Week 5, we get the headliners portion of the season started, and we start with a huge headliner, Georgia and Alabama. Heavyweight bout in the SEC. Now, the last time that these two teams met, guys, Alabama was sending Georgia packing. They were not going to the college football playoff. You got to imagine that Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs have that front of mind when they go to Tuscaloosa and play this game, guys. Both these teams have their starting quarterbacks back. Who do you give the edge to in this matchup at the quarterback spot, Maddie?
I'm going with Jalen Milroe right now, and the reason why is because I just trust that their skill group is better. It's deeper. I think Jam Miller is legit. He plays hard. He blocks unselfish football when he's in pass protection and when he's blocking for Jalen Milroe. Yeah. Ryan Williams is, I don't know, maybe the best receiver, in college football in a lot of sense. I mean, he's definitely top 10 as a 17-year-old, so that's crazy. And I think that Kalen DeBoer, and them have really found what their identity is on this offensive side and put defenses in binds with the fact that Jalen Milroe can run it, but he's also really good at throwing the football down the field.
And identity is the key word right there, Matt, because the integration of Milroe in the running game is one of the most exciting parts that I've seen with this Kalen DeBoer, Jalen Milroe combo. They're running a lot of RPO, new elements of it, and it forces the defense to kind of respect him as a runner.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, they're still able to hit on those explosive plays. Right now, Alabama leads the nation in 20-plus yard throws down the field. And on top of that, Jalen Milroe, he's hurting you in all different types of ways. He's busting out for long runs. He's hitting you for long passes. Leads the nation right now in total touchdowns, and he just has one turnover.
Yeah.
That's a difference right there. But when I look at Georgia and how they're going to match up against this team, because we're looking at Kalen DeBoer, offensive-minded head coach, and then we got Kirby Smart, a defensive-minded head coach, and that's where the battle is really going to be. But Kalen DeBoer is 12-2 against AP teams that are ranked, and now he goes against a Kirby Smart team that has struggled against Alabama. So, Matt, when you look at this matchup between the coaches and how they're going to be dueling, what are you looking at?
I really am looking at that side of the football and what Kirby Smart's going to do. And I really think the question will be is just like, how does Kirby Smart want to attack Alabama's team right now? Do you want to play some sort of zone and like do that match quarters coverage where you're basically like pressing the outside receivers, but you're still keeping a two-deep safety, sorry, Mel Kiper, and really just trying to stop the run from that quarters look?
Yeah.
Or are they going to try to like, hey, let's sell out, let's win the line of scrimmage, let's dominate that way and see if Jalen Milroe can win from a collapsed pocket and pick us apart as a passer? You know, that'll be the question. I'm not sure if they can get home just rushing 4 against Alabama's O-line, who is getting healthier, and the chemistry is definitely building as the weeks go.
To your point, Scoob, since Kirby Smart got to Georgia, he's 1-5 against the Tide. So this has been his kryptonite, and now Nick Saban no longer there. But like you just said, Kalen DeBoer has had a ton of success as a head coach for college football teams, whether it be at Washington, now at Alabama. It just seems like they haven't missed a beat at all. I want to bring it back to Georgia before we get out of here. Your level of concern for the Georgia Bulldogs after what they did against Kentucky, because this is nothing new for Georgia.
Right.
But it seems like at least on the outside, people are like kind of freaking out. But they did this last year. South Carolina, they needed a late comeback. Same with Auburn. Even the year before against Missouri. So this is kind of this is something that we have seen before with Georgia, that they have kind of struggled a little bit, but somehow find a way to win the game, and then they go on to an undefeated season. But
you know, my one concern really, and especially as we watch this game right here, is just that, like, you know, Kentucky's talented, you know, but Kentucky was all over them, you know, and that's my concern. They couldn't really scheme up any plays that gave them any opportunity or Carson Beck to really feel good about themselves, and that was concerning to me. So the fact that it seemed like Kentucky was in the huddle with you, you know, as you were calling the play, you know, is a little bit of an issue with me right now, and that's where I'm concerned for this football team.
Who's their playmaker? We were talking about this.
Yeah.
Like,
And
who is Georgia's playmaker?
That was going to be my question, because when you look at Georgia last year, we knew that when they needed to get a play, and they needed a third down, you would go to Brock Bowers.
No doubt.
But right now, who is it? Dominic Lovett is their leading receiver in that room right now, and his numbers aren't explosive or game-changing. Just a little bit over 150 yards passing, what about 15, 16 receptions? So it's not something where you look at and say, all right, that is a game-changing type of guy. I know when I look at the Alabama roster, they're going to go to Ryan Williams when they need a play.
Don't forget about Bernard either. He's a really good football player, too.
Good.
The transfer from Washington that Kalen brought over, too. You know, so, and they also find ways to get Cuevas the football, too, the tight end, the other transfer from Washington. So that's where I'm like a little just – Kalen DeBoer in Alabama, they've already kind of proven that they can feed everybody on the offensive side of the football, and Georgia is still yet to do that.
Questions in the secondary for Alabama, just very young, and they haven't really been tested by a passing quarterback yet, like we were talking about.
And that's the thing, right? You got a couple of redshirt freshmen, and you got a true freshman in your secondary. Haven't been tested there, but one of the biggest things when you look at Alabama is the penalties, right? Because they were a really penalized team last year. This season, they've kept that under control a little bit, more so last week. But against South Florida, that's where they were still racking up penalties, and we'll see what they're able to do with discipline in the game.
What is it with South Florida, man? They're causing problems for Miami right now, too, tonight.
They are.
So let's check out some of our game picks and get you an update on how things are going this season.
What is it with these game picks? Why?
Turned
Wow.
because your boy, 2-3.
Yeah,
in last
boy.
place last year.
Take it easy,
You
kid.
guys 1-4 through the first couple of weeks here. So let's make some
It's not
picks.
getting any better.
Let's make some picks
Terrible.
for a couple of games coming up. We got Colorado and Baylor. We're going to be picking this game. I'm going to take Baylor. Dave Aranda, hot seat season this year. I think his Bears need to play better than they have. Some injury concerns for them, but I think they get the win against Colorado.
I'm going with Baylor, too. I'm going to say they play good defense. I say they get after the passer just enough to make this game a little chaos for Colorado.
I'm going to go with Colorado, right? They were under a lot of heat after the Nebraska game with the way that Shedeur Sanders was under pressure, constantly getting hit. He threw his offensive line under the bus, but then they come back in the Colorado State game, and they're doing the post-game press conference with the offensive lineman standing right behind him. So he talked about this team coming together.
Coach Prime told them to go.
You know what it is, but still, going with Colorado. I think the offensive line plays a little bit better today.
Okay, fair enough. Sneaky good one in the Big 12, by the way. Kansas State was played seemingly like a really difficult schedule to start the season.
Yeah, they have.
It doesn't get any easier when you go to BYU and take on a team in BYU that has played incredibly well this season and surprised a lot of people. I'm going to take BYU to win this game over the ranked Kansas State team. Scoop,
I think this is a toss-up for sure, so I'm going to go with Kansas State. Go ahead, Scoop.
I'm right there with you. I'm going to go with Kansas State. After what I saw from Avery Johnson last week, it was kind of that game where they unlocked him. The first couple of games, they didn't really use him in the passing game and then in the running game, and then all of a sudden, he's running the ball over 100 yards rushing last week, over 200 yards passing. So Avery Johnson is kind of hitting them in both different ways.
Yeah.
We are unfortunately out of time, but thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for watching the College Football Show presented by AT&T. Guys, can we say a big thank you to Rachel, by the way?
Rachel, thank you.
Thank you so much for all of your hard work.
One of the people on our staff, she's
right.
leaving us, staying at ESPN, but I mean, she's doing bigger and better things. Much love,
She's
Rachel.
on a better show now. Good for her. Yeah.
Forget us, right?
Thank you, Rachel. We'll see you in week 5, everybody.